coin magic with Kaufman is it has Lotta, Rubenstein, Gallo, Roth. It's got all the big
Oh, so that's everybody.
70s to 90s coin workers. You know what I mean?
That's good.
And it's this fantastic breath through all of it. So I really like that book. But otherwise, I would just say, get your hands on Bobo's and just go through it. And you might flip to a trick. A lot of people will just flip to a trick, and be like, okay, produce 5 coins palmed from your hand. Start by palming 5 $half in your hand. A beginner looks at that and it's like, what?
Right. I know. I remember I would look at that and I'm like, I can't do that. Now I can after time, practice.
It just takes.
Years,
I mean, I still have a hard time doing this is a 4-coin stack.
Yeah.
But sometimes I can't.
And do you work with dollar coins or half dollars? Do you
Both.
think does it matter?
I don't think it matters personally.
Yeah.
I think you can work with quarters. I actually really like working with quarters.
You work with quarters.
I think pocket change is the most powerful coin magic you can do to someone, because if you can borrow their money, and it's very universal. Like this is a Barber $half. How many of you have seen a Barber half? This
right.
is
I know not many people.
I mean,
but that brings that uniqueness, but then that also brings that separateness because they've never seen it before.
Exactly.
So it has that double-edged sword feeling. You're like, it's cool, but I don't know. It could be a trick coin. They always go to that.
Absolutely.
It's just like when you pull out a unique deck that doesn't look normal. They're like, I've never seen a deck, but it's becoming more normal. And I like that. I like that the custom deck is more normal. So it's like, no, it's not just a trick deck. It's just like, you just one of those custom cards.
I've got a couple philosophies on coins. Which coins to choose. Truly, whatever fits your hand. Like I can palm $1 and I can palm a $half. So I think it just depends on what I'm doing. For instance, if I have a bigger audience that's kind of farther away, I'll definitely use the dollar coins.
Yeah.
If it's kind of closer up and I want to feel fancier, I will use my $half, right? If it's real close and it's off the cuff, I'm just going to try and borrow whatever I can. I'll borrow pennies. I'll do stuff with pennies and dimes. I went through a whole year of my life where I was like, what can I do with the nickel, the dime, and the penny? And so, trying to figure that out, because then you can work miracles just from whatever people have or whatever you just pull out of your pocket. Or you're at a bar. Here's a great example. You're at a bar and you're trying to stay completely, impromptu with it. You can just do minor setup, minor setup, where you can have a cocktail napkin sitting on your table. And when they bring your change, you pay them cash and they bring change. So now you have change on the table, right? Brought to you. So then it's just already in that environment with people around you. So,
There's a little glitch. What'd you say? So when they come back at the bar?
Yeah. So if you're sitting down and someone takes your order or whatever, and you're with a group of people or you're at the bar, you pay them cash, and they sometimes will give you in change, and so you can leave that change just sitting there, and that becomes completely natural, completely impromptu, because now you don't have to be like, hold on, let me grab out of my pocket this dollar coin. It's versus you just have here, let me just grab a couple things. And you have the napkin there, and it's a cocktail napkin, but if you've ever seen David Ross' portable hole, you can pretty much do the whole routine with a cocktail napkin. And so, and borrowed quarters, or your own quarters or change in that sense. So there's a lot of stuff. I forget what I was
I like that. I like that. It's like, you're aware of what you have, and I even think about that too when I get change from anything. Yeah, when I get some change, and usually quarters, because I love imagination coins, and I use the quarters. And when I get those quarters, it's perfect. Or when someone else gets those quarters, I'm like, oh, perfect, and it's not too hard to load, the gimmick on there.
I'm not the biggest fan of free flies. I do like free flies. Like you actually posted one of my free flies that I do.
Yeah, I just thought.
I don't like it too much because they feel like a little T-Rexy, you know what I mean? A lot of times, so that's why I do a lot of big turn motions to try to reduce this T-Rex arm.
Right. Yeah, it is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks good, but it's one of those good things for and we were talking about that too. I think for free fly, those are good for probably the bigger coins. Certain methods may be easier for bigger coins and smaller coins. But
it's
a different feel,
Absolutely. I think if you're using more than 3 coins, you should go smaller. I don't know, if you're using more than $3 coins, it's just kind of a lot. And for me, $half work great, quarters work great, especially if you're doing stuff into people's hands, right? if you're using dollars, you might want to stay on your close-up mat or you want to stay far away. You know what I mean? Because they're big. But if you try and stick a stack of four half dollars in someone's hands for a reveal, not everyone's hands this size. Sometimes they'll be just
Right,
like
right,
trying to be
yeah.
here. A half dollar or quarters will fit in almost everyone's hand and stay hidden. Because if it's too big, what ends up happening, like a really great example is like if you put a coin in someone's hand, if you put it towards the palm and they can't control, then their instinct is to look down. Right? But if you put their coin right in the crotch, then it's going to make them want to close. So if they close and they can't fit, then they're just going to do that natural look. But if you can
Yeah.
close their hand over it and then they can't see it, then they just don't have any interest in it because it's not out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, that's how I feel too when I work with dollar coins. I don't have the biggest hands, but when I have a dollar coin in my hand, it's just like, even with like ball manipulation, like you transfer a ball in the hand, and it's like you don't want to be like this. You got to have that like.
Yeah. Or if you're rocking the jumbo coin, you're not going to hold the jumbo.
Or the jumbo
coin.
coins too, exactly.
You have to mime. It's a lot of miming,
Yeah, you got to really make it look like you got something in there.
Like one of my favorite. Like here's a great example of a good mime. So if I take the coin, right, with a blow, you can just make it come back.
Nice, that looks great.
And that's almost all miming. You stole it and then you just pretend it's still over there.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I think it's the same thing, with a jumbo or anything. You just got to really sell that. If you believe it's there, it's there. And it's
Always,
like,
you got to
fully
believe it. You got
commit
to
to
go
that
with
moment.
it.
And that's when I always screw up. Whenever I don't.
Sometimes that will help if your sleight of hand is bad too. I know in the beginning I wasn't the best, of course, but it was that just having that confidence and belief that you had it. Everyone believes, because you could do such a bad transfer where it's like that, but you just believe it's there, and they're with you. They just. And I remember seeing that in the beginning, magicians doing that, and then I would watch them, and I would be fooled the first time. And then he's like, "Oh, I really did it terrible just to show you that you don't need the greatest sleight of hand. You need more of that personal belief and everyone else to believe you." And it's really interesting in all these talks I've been having, and especially intriguing with hypnosis, talking to Brett Allen earlier.
That was awesome, man. Like when I tuned in, that was really cool.
It's true. I think a lot of people forget what hypnosis is, and and even magic. Like hypnosis is like more like kind of a pure way of magic without any props or just the power of belief. And then magic is using that power of belief, but with props, whether it's natural, organic pieces or the things that we carry.
Yeah. Yeah. There's do you know what the drop vanish is by any chance? Like
the drop vanish? I'm not sure. Oh, that one. Okay.
That one? Well, a lot of people, like I was teaching a guy the drop vanish at one point, and he was, and his sleight of hand wasn't that strong. But I was just saying, you don't need to do the full drop. Sorry if this is exposing, but like here's a great example. If you just turn wrist kill, it's the same effect. I'm not dropping it. I'm just wrist killing, and it's a pretty good retention. You know what I mean? Your retention is really smooth, just wrist killing right there, and then just miming that motion. You know what I mean? Versus even just doing the drop there. Yeah. So it's
right.
Kill.
That's kind of the same thing I would do with SpongeBall. It's like you have it here, and then I don't have one right next to me, but it's just that wrist turn, and then
it's slight turn. Yeah, and it's just like you could do all kinds of fancy retentions where you're doing like a classic there, you're doing like old school put. My personal favorite from like the 70s, which was like
what was that one? Do that one again.
I'm trying to get a better view of like the light in here is really harsh.
I know, right? Sometimes we get washed out.
Can you see that here? You know what? Better point. Can you see the copper coin better?
Yeah.
So it's just like here, you can kind of do the tap over. You know what I mean? Like that classic, dump. Show it's in the hand. Slow it down obviously, and really milk the moment. You could even come in, adjust, and really milk those moments, and then you can maybe even hear it snap, and then solve it. And you can really just as long that mind to physical connection you're doing, and truly believing what is there or what isn't there, I think sells the illusion way more.
Yeah. It was interesting. I had a conversation too with it was someone that was like a magic enthusiast, but not really a magician, I would say. And then they were knocking down because they saw a show at the castle, and it was a mime show at the
Hmm.
Magic Castle, and I'm like, I don't want to see a mime or a clown.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to see that. That's not magic. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think you know what magic is. I mean, magic
True.
is you're doing miming and acting, and you're putting that together. You're doing miming or sleight of hand. You're like one hand is acting and miming, pretending to hold the coin. The other hand is doing the sleight of hand work. So there's that
Absolutely.
half and
Yeah.
half.
It's miming. Like you see a good mime, that's magical.
Yeah,
Like they're that full commitment to what they're doing, or like, was it Teller that did the balloon where you couldn't push the balloon and stuff like that? And I
yeah,
mean, that's
yeah,
just all mine.
yeah. Or
And it's
even
beautiful.
Jeff McBride does a lot, and like
Yes.
I've heard people even knock him down. Like, I don't like the whole mime and dance stuff. I'm like, all that stuff is magic. It's just your perspective of
Hmm.
magic, and you think it should be all sleight of hand or whatever. I don't know,
Absolutely. I mean, like
but
I consider myself more of a move monkey than a magician.
right,
Like
yeah.
I'm not actively performing at all. Like just constantly practicing for I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I
Just
know
for
you're like
me.
a real enthusiast. I mean, you just showed me a few
Yeah.
things. You know your stuff, and
Oh,
you're
thanks. Yeah.
talking good.
It's
Obviously, that's why we're having this great talk.
yeah.
Talking good. No, you
They'll come
seem
back.
good. That was good. Yeah, luckily, I've been fortunate
Yeah.
enough that most of these live streams have been going good. Unfortunately, it was just with Alec Kazam that we had a issue. I don't know why. I'll have to try it again with him though, because he's
Hmm.
amazing, and we were just getting into some coin work, so it's awesome that we're coming back into it
Hmm.
with you. I know we're going to be talking about all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff throughout
Very.
all these live streams. I'm trying to get so many other varieties of magic, and even that you got me thinking like it would be cool to even get a mime on here, like, or
Hmm.
get someone that's
Yeah.
into some different magic. I think we limit
Hmm.
ourselves in magic. People think like magic should be this way. I'm like, magic's everything, man. It's depending on how you perceive it. I mean,
I think that I think this the mass majority of people look at magic and they see props. You know what I mean? Like, and if you don't have a
yeah,
prop, then you're not a magician or something like that.
right.
Or but like once again, we go back to the mime. A mime can just fry you with nothing,
With nothing. Yeah, isn't that cool?
nothing, and it's amazing. And it's like and same thing with like contact juggling. Have you ever seen Miles Thornton do anything
Miles
like
Thornton. Yeah, I should get him on here. That's
You
right. Yeah,
should. That
he's a
guy,
great guy.
he's incredible. I talked to him. I chatted with him not too long ago, like maybe a week ago. And one thing I like about what he does is like he does a lot of contact juggling,
Yeah,
but he brought that not just that contact juggling into performances with walk around and stuff, but he'll impromptu float wine glasses. You
yeah, I
know what I
love
mean?
that.
And it's incredible. And it's just like you see him doing the contact juggling, and a lot of people think, oh, it's the ball. The ball is doing all the work. But then he
Right.
comes up to you, or you come up to someone, and you just pick up their glass, and it just floats. It's like that's really incredible.
And I thought that was really cool when I saw that. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, then
Mhm.
that's just shows how you could take that into an impromptu setting and not have to
Absolutely.
bring your big acrylic ball or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. So, did you have any questions about coin magic, or like, because you said you were starting to get into coin magic, or is there anything that, like, I don't know?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I wish I wrote some more stuff down. How about practicing? How do you like to practice coin magic?
I did martial arts growing up a lot, like a lot of kung fu and a lot of like
And that's great because
Kyokushin.
I always say martial arts goes hand in hand with magic.
So I use a lot of the training philosophies in martial arts. Like I don't believe, at least what my coach taught me. Right? I don't believe in like sitting down and being like, all right, I'm gonna spend 3 hours and I'm gonna get that retention vanish down. I don't, it's like, or you could just put one of these in your pocket and just palm the damn coin. You can just walk around palming. You're going, oops. So now I know that grip doesn't work with gripping a bottle, but finger palm works great. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I do a lot of micro practice all the time, or I do training drills in karate and stuff like that. You have your forms. With this, I'll do like hand drill exercises. So I don't think I don't know how people feel about exposing palms, but I don't think it's a big deal personally. So like you can start in down. So this is a dollar coin, mind you. So you can start in down palm, switch to second finger curl palm, JW grip, thumb palm, balance, back to downs. So this can become a fidget, but what you're doing is you're practicing all your transfers in that upper part of your hand. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can even go from down like third finger curl to, Matobe. You can just change it up to whatever your slights are that you like, you know, or you can drop the phone,
Yeah.
So I guess that's how I practice. Is I will practice a lot of repetition in my hands just to keep that muscle memory always going. To the point, like I even like one of my effects that a lot of people see on like Instagram where I do a lot is just came from a training drill, right? So if I take that silver coin and I give it away, you can crumple it into nothing, and I can hang it right there. Right? You can take, and this is all that same drill. This is everything from that drill I just showed you. So like you could take that copper coin and hang it there as well. From there, you can grab the silver, stretch it back out, bring it back, right? Another interesting thing is you can grab that copper and just, sprinkle it back on, and with just a change, you can put it back to copper. But magic is fleeting, so it doesn't last very long, right?
Yeah,
And
that
now
makes sense.
these are a little different than those other drills, but then, you can just you just start flowing. If you really want it to stay copper, you have to remove that silver and get it out of it. But that's kind of expensive, it's the silver cost. But remember, we hung a silver coin right there not too long ago, and we can bring that back. So
Yeah, that's
just
awesome.
that, yeah. So those flowing drills that you're doing, right? Whether you're doing this one or whatever, what ends up happening is, all right, you do a retention. Well, now you're in a position, so now you can go low to the low palm, or you can go to the high palm. You know what I mean? And then you can
Right.
just work these drills around. So I guess that's more or less what I do is I work a lot of drills to get muscle memory where I want it, especially if I'm like having trouble, like, oh, I need to go from finger palm to JW. How do I get there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the most direct route, and what's the most efficient way to train that muscle memory, right? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
once you train that muscle memory, then everything just kind of flows from there. And then you just think of a plot. So this was a copper silver plot that I just started doing, right? Coins through table. You have wild coin. You have Miser's Dream. I don't do Miser's Dream because that just seems kind of difficult.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great for busting, to be honest. A
Yeah.
big,
No,
big
I've seen
one.
a lot of great guys do some great Miser Dreams on the street. I know
Mm-hmm.
Chris Capehart did a great one in New York, or did. One of my favorite Miser Dream. I really, when I first saw Jeff McBride's, I was like,
Oh
I
man,
like that a lot, with just silence and using like kind of the sound bowl and just like ding
that was
and going.
beautiful. Jeff
It's so cool.
McBride's
I
got
thought
some
that was
like
the coolest thing when I saw that. I'm like, damn it, that's so. I would do that. I love that, but
a lot
that's
of
it.
Jeff McBride magic for me. Like has a lot of lasting impression. Like
It really
I,
does. Like recently, I've been meeting a lot of people that aren't magicians, but they know of Jeff McBride. They remember him like in the '80s or '90s or something, or they went to like a
oh yeah,
festival like Burning
heck
Man or something, and they're like, "Yeah, I saw this guy, man." I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh, McBride, yeah, amazing."
yeah.
And yeah, I definitely do drills too. Like I always think like when I'm just out about, like I always just be like finger palming or palming a coin. I know one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorites is finger palming the thumb palm. You know, I think
Oh
that's
god,
just
yeah, that's
it's just
classic.
fun. I mean, and also just when you're picking up stuff, or you're like, okay, now
Mm-hmm.
I'm like wiping my face. I don't know, doing something that's natural, right? Like just doing your everyday things.
When I first got into coin magic, I thought classic palm. I thought when they said like just palm the coin, right? I thought it meant the palm. They meant classic palm. So I tried to classic palm with everything, and I'm like I don't understand. But it does make. But now it makes sense. Like as you get more into it, you're like, oh, I guess it just is more natural to drop it into finger palm and pick up a cup. It's like
Right? I mean, I still try that too, because like I know the other big thing people have is like the thumb issue, right? And
mhm.
how to make the thumb like more natural without having that push in there.
Treat it like a thumb tip.
Yeah, treat it
Um,
like a thumb tip. And also, I
touch,
think
touch.
mirroring your hands. If your
Yeah.
hand is like that and this hand's like that, then why not just adjust your other hand so it looks natural compared to the other one?
A lot of people will do that, that hitchhiker. I'm in classic, you know what I mean? And
Right,
like there's
right.
that. But if like when I say with like a thumb tip, if you're going to go into palm, but then you keep these together, or like when you're doing a thumb tip, if you just have your fingers together, that thumb doesn't flare as much. So just going
Yeah, no,
through
and
that
those
kind
are
of thing.
great tips. Literally,
Yeah,
thumb
yeah,
tips,
like
and for classic palm, you have to
hmm
keep your thumb and index together.